Hello. All right.
Hello.
So thank you everyone for joining us this evening for Upper Darby Township Council meeting, December 16th, 2020. At this point in time, can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? And I believe the mayor will have the flag for us. So if you can hook us up with the flag. Should have made sure she was right.
She's not there
There
yet.
she goes. Thank you. All right. So I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance
Pledge
to the
allegiance
flag
to the flag
of the United
United States of America
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
liberty
justice
and justice
for
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 all.
all.
We can remain standing for a moment of silence for all those that were lost. Thank you. Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If we can have Ms. Phillips give us our roll call.
Thank you, Council President Wentz. Councilor Tunis,
present.
Councilor Billups is here. Councilor Silva,
Present.
Councilor Beckwell,
Present.
Councilor Gwen,
Present.
Councilor Burke,
Present.
Councilor Siddiq,
I'm here.
and I believe Councilor Faralia is excused for a few moments.
Yes, she will hop on when she can.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Barnett,
Here.
Councilor Wagner,
Here.
and Councilor President Wentz.
Here.
Okay.
Thank you.
All present and accounted for.
Great. Thank you. Rules of meeting decorum. Upper Darby Township Council and residents will maintain professional respect for each other. Council encourages free speech, however, civility is required, which would prohibit threats, profanity, scandalous, impertinent, and redundant comment, or any comment the discernible purpose of which is to disrupt or prevent the conduct of the business of the meeting. All right. Up next, we have approval of the minutes. We have 4 sets of minutes. So can we get a motion to approve the committee meeting for November 11th, 2020?
So moved.
Is that
Seconded.
okay, so Sadiq. Are there any questions or concerns on these minutes? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes for the committee meeting 11/11/2020, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say your name. Ayes have it. Next up, we need a motion to approve the minutes for the special meeting / the 2021 budget hearing on November 11th, 2020. Can I get a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved. Yeah, sorry.
Silva and Sadiq. Great. Are there any questions or concerns on these minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say your name. Ayes have it. Thank you. Next up, we have the approval of the minutes for the second budget hearing for 2021 on November 11th. Sorry, November 18th, 2020. Caught myself. Can I get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion.
So I got Gwynn and Blackwell. Are there any questions or concerns on these minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say your name. Okay, thank you. Next up, we have the minutes for the regular council meeting on November 18th, 2020. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion. Bob?
Gwen?
Second it.
And Sadiq. Great. Any questions or concerns on these minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say your name. Ayes have it. Thank you all very much for that. Next up, we have public forum. So Ms. Dobbins, if you can come back and hook us up with the public forum, and if everyone can mute their mics, Ms. Phillips and I will be on timer. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Dobbins.
Stephen Nitz, 7102 Landfair Road, Upper Darby, PA. Street trash management. The 69th Street area in particular continues to be littered with trash. I suggest the following example of New York City and require all business owners and landlords to have their front cleaned up by 10 a.m. or be fined. Perhaps the enforcement can be done by the people who collect from the parking meters. Overflowing commercial trash bins should also be fined. A good example is the alley where the mural was painted. The mural is nice, but on the other side, the trash is often spilling out onto the sidewalks. An excerpt of the NYC ordinance reads, commercial premise enforcement routing. Under the enforcement routing program, enforcement agents patrol all commercial and industrial blocks at specified times, focusing on violations for dirty sidewalks and failure to clean 18 inches into the street. During the enforcement routing time, when enforcement agents observe a dirty sidewalk or an 18-inch violation in front of or adjacent to a commercial or industrial premise, a notice of violation will be issued. Although enforcement agents will issue notices for dirty sidewalks or failure to clean 18 inches into the street violations only during the specified 2 one-hour daily enforcement routing time periods, they may issue notices for all other violations at any time. Although the commercial routing times vary by sanitation district / section where the business is located, all commercial premises should be maintained, the sidewalk and the area 18 inches from the curb, at the beginning and end of the day. This makes good business sense and helps keep the community clean. For more information about the specific commercial enforcement routing times for a particular location, call the NYC Customer Service Center at 311. Fine, $100 to $300. And then there's a link for more information. End of comment, and that concludes all public comment for this evening.
Great. Thank you very much. I believe we'll be looking into it. I know that it's an issue that we've been dealing with for a long time. So any suggestions are always welcome. So thank you. Oh, sorry, cat attack. Okay, great. So next up, so public comment is concluded. Thank you, Ms. Dobbins, for your assistance. Next up, we need a motion to approve the schedule for 2020 for council meetings and committee meetings.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay. Councilman
Second.
Silva
Second.
and Blackwell. So just to let the public know, we're looking to have our council meetings on January 27th, February 17th, March 17th, April 21st, April 21st, May 26th, June 16th, July 21st, August 18th, September 22nd, October 20th, November 17th, December 8th, and 15th. And then our committee meetings, which is normally the first Wednesday of the month, but we're moving the January one to January 13th, February 3rd, March 3rd, April 7th, May 5th, June 2nd, July 7th, August 4th, September 1st, October 6th, November 10th, and December 1st. Whew, that's a mouthful. Okay, any questions or concerns on those meeting dates and so forth? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor?
I have the question.
Councilman Sadiq, what you got?
It's not the question. The sheet that I needed to paste. The schedule.
It was sent
The
to you
schedule, yeah.
email.
Email or print it out? Okay. We used to get a print every beginning of the year, get the print for all the, and the file.
It was emailed to everyone. And if you had requested a packet, you would have received it with your packet.
Okay, I'm going to request one. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions or concerns? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of passing or advertising for the schedule of 2021, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say your name. Ayes have it. Thank you. Great. That will be put in the newspaper. Great. Okay, next up, we have the Honorable Mayor Barbara Ann Keffer. Take it away, Mayor. You're muted.
Okay, here we go. Hi, everybody. Good evening, everyone. As a quick reminder, the trash recycling calendars that you received last year post the collections through the end of January of 2021. We will be sending out the 2021 trash and recycling schedule notice in January. The current schedule is available on our township website, upperdarby.org. For the next 2 weeks, collections will be on a holiday schedule for Christmas and New Year's. This afternoon, we are enjoying the first storm of 2020. I would like to thank our township staff, especially Public Works, police and the fire departments, for all that they are doing to keep our community safe. The snow is expected to continue through tomorrow morning. I'm asking residents to do their part by staying off the roadways and avoiding non-essential travel during the storm. Please do not park at street corners, in fire lanes, or in front of fire hydrants. We have 20 Public Works teams scheduled to be out on the road tonight to keep on top of the snow removal process. Tonight, council will be voting on the 2021 millage rate. I'm pleased to announce that my administration, led by CAO Vincent Rancioni, Director of Special Projects Allison Dobbins, and Finance Director Gary Marin, working with our department heads, have crafted a budget for 2021 that is revenue neutral and has held the line on fees. 2021 is the first year we will all be working with the results of the mandated county reassessment. So the actual millage rate has gone down and will be applied to your new assessment. Individual property assessments will determine individual property taxes. We are keeping the budget at the same level as last year. I will be asking for council to supply appointments to vacancies on various boards, commissions, and committees. Thank you to everyone who has served on these advisory boards, commissions this year, and to everyone who sent letters of interest. We had an overwhelming number of responses, and it was great to hear from so many residents who are interested in serving our community. Planning and the recreation committees were started this year with the goal of becoming full-fledged commissions in 2021. And that is why there's no set terms for those two committees. Congratulations to all the appointees, each of whom brings new energy, experience, and skills to these boards, commissions, and committees. Upon the recommendation of our township solicitor, appointments to these advisory boards, commissions, and committees are done by resolution. And now I'd like to turn that over to Council President Wentz to have the resolution brought before council.
Great. Thank you very much, Mayor. At this point in time, can we get a motion to approve Resolution 59-20?
So
So
approved.
moved.
So I got
Second.
Blackwell and Gwen. Okay, are there any questions or concerns on resolution? Oh, wait, we need a, we
Want me to
need
read
a reading of
Yep.
resolution. Sorry, I was rocking and rolling, forgot part of the equation. Can we please get a reading of resolution 59-20?
Sure. You have a motion and second, so if everyone's cool, you good with it, you can just vote right after the reading, provided there are no comments. Now therefore be it resolved by Upper Darby Township Council, Deborah Woodard is appointed to serve as an alternate member on the Upper Darby Township Zoning Hearing Board for a term to expire December 31st, 2022. Alan Rubin and Stanley Houston Smith, a representative of the Smith family, are appointed to serve the Upper Darby Historical Commission for 3-year terms, respectively expiring December 31st, 2023. Per the Historical Commission rules, a member of the Smith family needs to be appointed. Thus why that is specified. Mercedes Powers and Nathan Schmalhofer are appointed to serve on the Upper Darby Historical Commission for a term expiring December 31st, 2021. John Mullen and Gina Amoroso are appointed to serve on the Upper Darby Township Library Board for 3-year terms expiring December 31st, 2023. Kelly Robinson is appointed to serve on the Upper Township Library Board for a term expiring December 31st, 2021. And Steve Bertle and Cassandra Hayes are appointed to serve on the Upper Darby Planning Committee at the pleasure of the mayor during her term of office. And Mark Manfree is appointed. Manfree, I'm sorry, I apologize, is appointed to serve on the Upper Darby Recreation Committee at the pleasure of the mayor during her term in office. Approved this day in council chambers, December 16th, 2020.
Awesome. Are there any questions or concerns on resolution 59-20?
No, I just want to make a comment
Go ahead.
that we are here to serve, and I want to give kudos to Mark Manfrees for agreeing to serve, and to the whole to all of the other appointees as well. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. Oh, Councilman Quinn.
I just confirm everything that Danielle just said.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Awesome. Wonderful. So yeah, I think all the candidates are amazing, and I think they will add a lot to those committees and commission boards and commissions they're being added to. So glad that we had so many options. So thank you. All right. So all those in favor of resolution 59-20, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say your name. Ayes have it. Thank you. Great. So next up, Mayor, was there anything else you wanted to continue?
A couple things. Yep. In the past week, we received the fantastic news that we have been awarded $75,000 through the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for our body-worn camera initiative with the police department. Funding for the body-worn cameras is also part of our first-year capital improvement program. We believe that the body-worn cameras will protect our officers as well as the public, and this initiative is part of our overall plan to modernize the police department and all of our departments, really, which is part of our big plan. I'd like to thank State Representatives Margo Davidson and Mike Zabel, State Senator Tim Carney, as well as District Attorney Jack Stolzheimer for their support for our grant application. And barring something unforeseen, this is the last council meeting of 2020. There is light at the end of the tunnel as the first shipment of COVID vaccine gets distributed. Please continue to mask up and keep your distance. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, joyous Kwanzaa, and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so next up is actually me. I just wanted to let everyone know that we had a snow emergency conference call this morning. We had more than a quorum for council, so just wanted to let you know.
I'm sorry, President Wentz, I think Councilman Gwen had a question.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
At this point in time, we are in the president's part of the meeting.
I did have a question of the president. Has an official snow emergency been declared?
CAO or Mayor, would you like to respond?
Sure. We have not declared a local emergency. I believe the governor has some emergency declaration in place.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to get.
Sure.
Great. So I get to go back. Great. So we had a snow emergency update conference call this morning that the majority of council was present for. So I'd like to thank for the mayor and CAO and everyone for making that possible. It was great to get that update on the plans for today's snow event for us. Also wanted to thank the events committee, Councilman Silva, Tunis, Councilwoman Blackwell, and Phillips for their amazing first virtual job fair this past weekend. I'd like to thank Mayor Keffer and Chief Sawyer for taking part, along with all the other presenters and other residents that took part as well. I believe it was a very good success. And I know that in the near future, the presentations will get posted on our YouTube in the near future if it hasn't already. But it was definitely a very successful event. So I wanted to thank you all for all your hard work for making that possible. I also wanted to just thank all the township employees for all the amazing work they've done this year. So that's all I've got. So next up, we have the Finance and Appropriations Committee, co-chairs Councilman Gwynn and Silva, council members Blackwell and Burke, and our treasurer's report, David Heyman. So take it away, David Heyman, and he will be sharing his screen. We did get his report out to everyone probably around 5:30 today or so. So I forgot to send you a text, check your email. So, but he will be sharing his screen to share with us. So take it away, David.
Thank you, Council President Wentz, and good evening, council members, Mayor Keffer. My screen should be up and visible to everybody at this point.
We see you.
Hopefully things will be large enough for you to follow along. So my report this evening actually has two parts to it. My regular review of the money, and also I put together a explanation for our fellow residents about what a mill is, and I'd like to kind of go through that today. It's just a one-pager explaining what millage is, what a millage rate is, and I think that might be helpful for all of us to understand how our property taxes are going to be determined. So so let's start with the financial position. Again, going back over where we've started and where we're at. The budget for this year was, again, for the four funds, set at $97.9 million. And this is for the general fund, the sewer fund, the highway fund, and the sinking fund. And so in my report, as I've been doing recently, to go over where I think we're going to be at the end of the year with 1 month to go, and what I'm putting together as a worst case scenario to kind of give a window, a range of how we might turn out. So the worst case scenario assumes we don't receive any revenue in December, which we know is not correct because we've been receiving revenue already. And incur twice the expected expenditures, maybe 30 snowstorms or something like that. The conclusion of this is that under both of these, both the expected and the worst case projection, we're going to be okay. We're going to be all right. So everyone should feel pretty good about that. Again, much thanks to all those folks who work in the township building, the department heads, and all the people that make these money decisions have really, they've sacrificed this year. There's no doubt about it, to put us in this position we're in because of the COVID situation. So getting into the numbers, it is projected that our total 2020 revenue is going to be about $87 million. That looks about how it's going to turn out. I'm judging December based upon December of 2019. And I don't know that anything is going to be much different than that. So revenue at about $87 million against $93.7 million. That should say expense budget. My bad. Oh, no, sorry. No, it's the revenue budget. The budget was 93.7 was budgeted for revenue. We're going to collect about 87. Okay. We expect to collect about 1.18 through the rest of the year, through December, and spend 2.2. So the actual expenditures this year project out to about $88.6 million compared to the $97 million spending plan that we started with. So we look to collect in total about $1.6 million less than we thought, but we're going to spend about $9 million less than had been planned, and that's where everything comes together and works for us as we move into a new year. I included a chart at the bottom of this handout that you all received, and it shows where my projection is. And by the way, if I'm madly wrong, blame me, nobody else. These are my numbers. But for each of the funds, where I think we're going to end up with respect to the revenue and the expense by fund. So that'll help you if you like to get in there and reconcile this stuff. You should be able to. So when we look at our cash position, the current cash reserve as of I got a December 10th update was $9.2 million. Following the month end of November 30th, that was 8.8. So as you see, we picked up about $400,000 in that first week and a half of December. So our worst case isn't going to happen. So the analysis uses November month end values as its foundation. Then I kind of look back at December last year and put this thing together. So it looks like in December we're gonna put out about $1 million more than we're going to take in, which should take us into January with a cash reserve of somewhere around $7.8 million. It's slightly below our beginning of the year cash reserve, but it's still a very, very healthy shape. And then what you can see at the bottom here are the estimated year-end expenditures for general fund, sewer fund, highway and sinking fund. And there's our total value, our total numbers. So that is the synopsis of our report. And if anybody's keeping score, we'll know how well or poorly I did come the January meeting. So that is that. Now, Council President, should I stop here or should I go on to the millage? I am hearing crickets. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I'm sorry. I had to find myself. So at this point in time, does anyone have any questions or concerns? If so, raise your hand because I can't see you. I see Councilman Siddiq on what he's presented so far. What's your question?
So, Mr. David, thank you so much for your clarification. So projected collection, how much going to be this year until 31st December?
Well, I wasn't sure. The question was, how much do you think we're going to get through the end of the year or in December?
Yes, no, until end of this year.
Okay. Okay. So I'm sorry again. I'm not sure which number. I'm going to give you both numbers. So just in case, because I'm a little slow. I'm sorry.
Just I'm keeping record for myself. So.
So the total revenue, I think the total revenue is going to be about $87 million for the year, for the calendar year.
Okay.
And then I believe that the expenditures look like they're 88.6 million through the end of the year. So what that means is we're going to bring in about 1.18 million. Where's that number? 1.6 million less in the budgeted $1.6 million more of expenses than revenues. That's what that is.
Okay, that's enough. Good enough. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey,
Laura, I have a question.
yes, go ahead.
Thanks, David. Where's the $9 million go?
$9 million. Well, with the difference here is what was budgeted versus what we actually incurred. So they're really not related to each other than you start the year out with a plan. And as the year transpires, maybe something like a worldwide pandemic happens and affects your revenues and your expenditures. So what I'm just showing you is what the plan was against what the actual. Nothing was lost or disappeared. It's just what our actual experience was versus what we thought it would be.
Yeah, but
I don't know
you're
if that-
saying that we didn't spend 9 million, we spent 9 million less than we budgeted?
That is correct.
So is that $9 million to the good, or we don't have that 9 million?
To the good.
We didn't bring
Well,
in
keep-
Okay.
that money.
No, it's what,
Yeah,
well, it just seems like saying that we spent 9 million less, so we don't have that 9 million. We just,
No,
You
but you
understand what
got to
I'm trying to
remember
ask.
is we spent 9 million less than the budget plan, but a lot of that is offset by the lower revenue that we also collected.
Exactly.
So they kind of cancel each other out, all but about 1.6 million.
Correct.
Okay,
so
Brian,
you're
you-
saying that we have 1.6, so we're still in debt 1.6 million, or?
So there's no debt, there's no liability here. It's
Okay.
just that, keep in mind, we had actually planned, the budget plan was to spend more than we were going to collect.
Okay.
Right? That was to begin with, and it was a much greater difference. As it turns out, the difference between what we actually experienced in expenses, what we actually brought in revenue, is a much tighter number.
Okay. Thanks, David.
okay, great. Anyone else? Great.
Hello?
Go ahead. Oh, is someone else wanted to weigh in?
Tom Wagner.
Sorry, Councilman Wagner, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Go ahead.
That's all right. Thank you. David, just briefly, so I'm clear on this. We're going to end the year with a surplus on hand, correct?
Yes, sir, we will. And I'm going to bring that up on the screen here, because this was also an attachment, and I'll make it bigger so you can actually read it.
Yep.
This is also an attachment to you got 3 files. That was the first, was my summary, and then these numbers you have. And I will just warn you that when you look at someone's spreadsheet, you can sometimes get a view into their distorted, twisted mind. So this may not read smoothly, but it should read. And here are the all of the numbers that I've put together that I do that summary report from. So if there's anything specific you want to know, maybe we can find it here.
No, that's not necessary. But you told us before the number. I just want to underline it to be sure we understand it.
Sure.
Well, we have a projected cash balance as of December 31 of about $7.8 million, correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct. And that number's right here on this.
And last
With
year,
also how I derived it.
last year at this time, we also had a projected cash balance. It wasn't that large. It was more like 5 something, correct?
Well, when you look at all of the bank accounts, and one of the things we had to do this year, and it's a reason that my numbers have seemed like they're all over the place if you look at them, and they only recently in the last few months got consistent, because we finally figured out how to state the bank balances. We came into the year with 8.7.
Okay.
If you look at all of the bank balances available for operations, and we're leaving the year with 7.8. Okay, so there was a little spend into that.
So based on the budget that was created last year and the management of those finances that are based on what was done towards the end of last year and put in place at that point, we had at that time a healthy cash balance of, I don't know, roughly $6 or $7 million, I think is what you're saying. And this year,
8.7. Yeah, 8.7.
8.7,
My numbers
thank
say 8.7. Yeah.
and this year we have an also healthy cash balance of, it's about 7.8 million, correct?
Yes, sir. My projection is 7.8. Yes.
So in thanking the people in the building and so on who have been doing their jobs, I guess we also ought to thank the previous administration for leaving the township in very good condition. Thank you. I have nothing further. Thank you.
If I can just throw one thing out here, Council
Yes,
President. I
please
just
do.
wanna make sure that what David was saying is, forgive me, David, I'm going to restate what you said. So we've begun the year at 8.7 million in cash. We're projecting ending the year with 7.8 million, or we will have used up the better part of $1 million. Call that a net operating deficit for the year. As I had pointed out back when I was presenting the budget, the projection was a 4-point-something million loss. I think a 4.3 was what the original budget said. So again, as I had presented, by only losing $1 million, that's a $3+ million improvement over budget that we can credit the current administration with. Yes, we began the year with 8.7 million in cash, and we should be okay with this projection ending the year at 7.8. And then, of course, the next part of the discussion is how the 7.8 will carry us through till taxes begin to arrive in February. I just wanted to get those facts out there on the table.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. And you're right.
Seems pretty clear to me.
The next part of the conversation, I'm guessing, will be in January. I guess it's when we'll talk about whether you feel we need a TRAN at that time, or if you're feeling comfortable with the numbers at that time. Right, Gary?
Yes, Vince may have a few words to say on that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's fair to say that we're keeping a very close eye on it.
Okay, cool. Vince, did you want to weigh in? I can't see you on my screen right now. But
Oh,
if you
yeah,
want to,
sure.
please do.
No, just to say that David and Gary are doing a great job tracking the numbers, and they're providing the mayor and I with very good, up-to-date, accurate information that we'll be able to use to provide the council with a recommendation on whether a TRAN will be necessary.
Great, thank you very much. Okay.
I got a follow-up question there, please.
Okay, go ahead.
By a TRAN, you're referring to a tax anticipation note.
Correct. Yep.
Yes.
And either Gary or David could comment on this. It's my basic understanding anyway that there's nothing unusual about that. Is there? Municipalities do that all the time, correct?
That is correct.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Yep, we had one going into this year.
We did.
Yep. Great. Any other council members have questions? Please speak up.
One question, Laura, please.
Okay, go ahead.
The anticipated expenditures through December 2020,
Yes.
is there any, is there still $1 million left on the table or something? Do we have any big budget items through the next 15 days or something? Or is that just bills that we'll receive in January?
Yeah, Brian, there's nothing unexpected in those numbers that we didn't see last December. Like
Okay.
I said, maybe we'll get, with Mayor Keffer's luck, we'll get 30 snowstorms, but barring that.
Okay, so
Thanks, David.
I'm sorry, before we ask any more questions, I think David's not done his report yet.
Oh.
So David, do you want to finish your report and then we'll recap any other questions?
All right, thank you very much. So the second part of the report is, this is really for our, for your constituents. I think this is an educational piece, and shouldn't be any controversy in here. It's about millage rate and how to understand what millage is, because it's the mechanism we use to determine our property taxes. And it's a formula. This is universally used, and I say universally. It's pretty much, I don't know of any other way that property taxes are determined. This is how I learned when I was in college, and it's the way we're doing it in reality. So the millage rate it's an equation, and don't be put off by the word mill. Mill just means 1/1,000. That's all mill means. So when you take the tax revenue budget divided by the value of the taxable property, and it gives you a number. It says how much taxes per dollar of property needs to be collected to pay to support the township budget that is funded by tax revenues. And the mill thing comes in because we simply, as a convention, divide by 1,000. That's all that means. And I would draw an analogy to a dollar bill, right? If we wanted to break a dollar bill into its component parts, how many component parts are there? There are 100. There's 100 cents in a dollar. And in a millage rate, there's 1,000 parts in the millage rate. So it's very similar to a dollar bill. Now, looking at the three pieces of this, we first have the tax revenue budget. Now, this is the revenue that we need to collect from property taxes to help fund that part of the budget. We know in Upper Darby, we have a number of areas of revenue that come in. Property taxes are just one of those pieces. but this just looks at the property tax part. And this year, we're going to collect $56.539 million in property taxes. And this is what our council, with the administration, they agree on as our revenue budget from our tax revenue budget. So that's that piece of the equation. The bottom part of it, the value of taxable property, this comes from the county. And the accounting assesses a property. There's been a lot of discussion about that recently. And so this is probably the third or the fourth time you've heard it. But the value of property is derived from one of three places. It is either Delaware County's assessment of your property, and all of us as property owners got a letter. I got a letter telling me what my assessed value is. The other way is if you buy a piece of property, what happens is the purchase price of that property is what generally can become the new assessed value of that property. That's the second way the property can get valued. And the third way is you can convert a property into a non-taxable parcel, create your own church or something, and it becomes a non-taxable property, so that taxes aren't paid on that property. So those are one of the three ways property gets valued. So all of us got our letters January 1st from the county telling us what our individual assessed values, and the total value of the taxable property that we were informed was that $4.3 billion. Again, this is probably the fourth time you've heard that. That's up from the 2020 numbers, 2.644. Now, I have no idea when the last assessment is done. I think we could probably reach out to Scott Alberts, whose head is full of all kinds of trivia like that, to tell us when the last assessment was done. Doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is we've got a $4.3 billion assessment. We have $56 billion of revenue that needs to be collected. So to determine what our millage rate is, we divide the $56 million by the $4.3 billion, and it comes out to 0.0130707. And for those of us who don't like fractions like that, we need something a little bit easier to understand. We simply divide by 1,000, and there is your millage rate that is going to be voted on this evening, I understand. And I'll change my paperwork if they change the millage rate, but that's probably what it's going to be. So let's take an example of a $100,000 property. And you got your July 1st letter that your property is worth $100,000. So what happens is you can simply take 0.013, multiply it by 100,000. That's your property value, and your property taxes should be $1,307. So then the question, the last piece of this presentation, the question always is, are my property taxes going to go up? Well, it depends. See, the millage rate for 2020 budget was 21.38. That's just, it was just determined by the prior value of properties. Generally speaking, if your millage rate goes down, per dollar of property value also should go down. However, if your new assessment rose dramatically, if your property got reassessed at a much higher number, it's very possible that your property taxes could go up. So that's why it's important for everybody to understand the impact that is individual to them to run a little number like this to see where you think you're going to be. So I gave 3 steps down here. If you want to do that, you want to go through that exercise, there's 3 steps. So identify how much you paid in property taxes for 2020. Go out and get your tax return out or your little piece of paper. Look at the letter you received from Delaware County to get your new assessment. Multiply your new assessment by that 0.0130707, and you'll get your tax assessment estimate, and then you can compare that to last year to determine whether it went up or down. And so I hope that was understandable. Its intent was to be educational, and anytime I think of something that I can pass along to you all, it's educational. I'll try to do so. And that concludes my remarks for this evening, Council President.
Great, thank you. That actually was extremely helpful. So Councilman Gwynn, I know you had a question, so please start us off.
No, that's okay. We'll just
You're
move
good?
on.
Okay, does anyone else have a question for David? If so, speak up. Okay, I'm seeing none and hearing none. So at this point in time, can we get a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Second.
Quinn and Billups. Are there any questions or concerns on approving the treasurer report? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say your name. Ayes have it. Thank you very much. All right, so next up, we have, thank you very much, Treasurer Heyman and Gary for your added advice. So next up we have the public. I'd like to start a public hearing for ordinance number 3086. Can we get a reading or a summary of this ordinance, Ms. Richardson?
Thank you, Council President Wentz. This is ordinance 3086, is the annual budget for the Township of Upper Darby for the year 2021, tax levy and appropriation ordinance. So this is an ordinance of Upper Darby Township, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, fixing the tax rate for the year 2021 and appropriating specific funds estimated to be required for the specific purpose of the municipal government, this is required per the Home Rule Charter. This budget provides a complete financial plan for the township funds and activities for the ensuing year. Two public hearings were held, and following the public hearings and after due consideration, the budget was adopted by council without amendment by Resolution 5520. And in furtherance of funding the 2021 budget, council may establish a tax on all real property improved or unimproved within the township subject to taxation for the calendar year 2021 on each dollar of assessed valuation. Now therefore be it ordained as follows, that a tax be and the same is hereby levied on all property and occupations within the said township, subject to taxation for the township purposes for the fiscal year 2021 as follows. Tax rate for general fund purposes, the sum of 12.44 mils on each $1,000 of assessed valuation. For debt purposes, 0.63 mils on each $1,000 of assessed valuation for a total tax rate of 3.07 mils. There is expenses for the fiscal year of 2021 in the following amounts for the general fund. And the summary appropriations were as follows. So ends the summary of the ordinance.
Great, thank you very much. Can we get a motion, or sorry, can we start our public hearing for ordinance number 3086? Ms. Dobbins?
Council President Wentz, there are no public comments for that ordinance.
Great, thank you very much. So seeing no public comments, the public hearing is now closed. At this point in time, can we get a motion to approve ordinance number 3086?
I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
Second.
Okay, so I got Gwynn and Tunis. Are there any questions or concerns on this ordinance? Anybody? Okay, so I'm seeing no one signifying that they have a question or concern on this ordinance. At this point in time, all those in favor of ordinance number 3086?
Roll call.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Roll call. Good point. Ordinances are roll call. Sorry, it's rocking and rolling. Ms. Billups, take it away. Roll call.
Ma'am. Councilor Tunis?
Yes.
Councilor Billups is a yes. Councilor Silva?
Yes.
Councilor Blackwell? Excuse me.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Councilor Gwynn?
Man, give me a
Yes.
reason.
Councilor Burke?
Yes.
Councilor Siddiq?
Yes.
Councilor Faralia is excused. Councilor Barnett?
You're muted, Don.
Sorry about that. Yes.
Thank you. Councilor Wagner?
Yes.
And Councilor President Wentz.
Yes. Thank you.
All yes and one excuse. Excuse me.
Great. Thank you very much. All right, next up, we have a public hearing for ordinance number 3087. Can we get a summary brief of ordinance 3087, Ms. Richardson?
Thank you, Council President Wentz. This is ordinance 3087, an ordinance of Upper Darby Township, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, authorizing that part of certain unencumbered appropriations allocated by the 2020 operating budget, the capital budget series 2009, and the capital budget series 2016 and 17 be transferred from various departments and agencies to other departments and agencies within the township, and repealing all ordinances and resolutions inconsistent herewith. There is a certain unencumbered appropriation allocated by the capital budget series 2009, 2016 and 17, and then there's also an unencumbered appropriation allocated by the 2020 operating budget under the Home Rule Charter. The mayor has requested that parts of these unencumbered appropriations be transferred from various departments, and now therefore being ordained that by the Upper Darby Township Council as follows: a certain portion of the unencumbered appropriation for the capital budget series 2009. Section 2 is the appropriation from the capital budget series 2016 and 17. Section 3 is the appropriation by the 2020 operating and budget. So ends the summary of the ordinance, Council President Wentz.
Great, thank you very much. At this point in time, can we begin the public hearing for ordinance number 3087? Ms. Dobbins, sorry.
Council President Wentz, there are no public comments on this ordinance.
Thank you. Due to no public comments, the public hearing is now closed. So at this point in time, can we get a motion to approve ordinance number 3087?
I'd like to make that motion.
Councilman Gwynn, a second?
Second.
Mr. Siddiq? Are there any questions or concerns on this ordinance? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Billups, take it away for roll call.
Yes, Council President Wentz. Councilor Tunis.
Yes.
Councilor Billups is a yes. Councilor Silva.
Yes.
Councilor Blackwell.
Yes.
Councilor Gwynn.
Yes.
Councilor Burke.
Yes.
Councilor Siddiq.
Yes.
Councilor Faralia is excused. Councilor Barnett.
No.
Councilor Wagner.
No.
And Council President Wentz.
Yes.
So 1 excuse and 2 no, Madam President.
And yay, 8. So it passed.
Yes.
Great. Great. Thank you all. Wonderful. Next up, we have introduction of ordinance number 3088. Can we please get we didn't get a chance to discuss this one. Can we get a little brief summary on this so that council could ask a few questions if there are any before the official first reading?
Sure. In this particular case, council may remember that we have appointed Michelle Portnoy for the limited purpose in January for collecting real estate taxes. However, in this particular case, they because it was a limited purpose for real estate taxes, there are additional unpaid municipal claims for delinquent accounts, which are collectible under the Municipal Claims and Tax Lien Act, which is MCTLA. However, because there is not the act requires that there's an ordinance that allows for fees to be assessed and also them to be collected, that has to be passed by the township. This is that ordinance to allow Portnoy to collect on behalf of the township these unpaid fees and delinquencies, more specifically abatements.
Great, thank you. Any council members have any questions on this ordinance? Councilman Burke? Go ahead.
Yes, thanks, President Wentz. The last word Solicitor Richardson, you said abatement.
Mhm.
We've been abating all year, correct?
As far as I know, you have, but I can defer to CAO Rangioni to talk about that.
Yeah, sure. The abatement, the abatement program started in the spring. Yes. But this is for delinquent collections, right? So we've done abatements and we've sent out bills. And if people pay, then they've paid. This is so that we can turn over delinquent bills to Portnoy for collection.
So basically, they haven't paid their ticket and we're changing it over to a collecting agency. Is that what you're saying, Vince? More or less?
Yes, although it's not a ticket. The abatement is the actual service.
Service, okay.
Yeah, the cutting of the lawn.
The cutting of the lawn or the property that hasn't been maintained or whatever.
Exactly.
Now, is that going to go along, since we're talking about snow today, is that going to go along with the bank-owned properties that don't shovel their corners and sidewalks? Is that part of the abatement program, or is that just a ticket?
Well, it certainly would be. I mean, those, we will be ticketing people who don't clear their sidewalk. The trick with abating snow is usually it melts before we have the opportunity to go out there and abate it. So it's a little bit uncommon that snow would get all the way to abatement. But snow can definitely, those properties will get tickets, those abandoned houses. Yep.
No, that's fine. I just wanted clarification on that. Thanks, Vince.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Councilman Gwynn?
On that same line of abatements, you talk about the sidewalks and things. How about the alleyways that the individuals may have to clear up too?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll have to research the ordinance before I can give you a definitive answer there.
Specifically in the snow.
Right. No, I understand. I just don't want to, I don't have the information at my fingertips and I don't want to misstate it. So I'll have to get back to you about the alleyways.
Thank you. Anyone else have a question on this ordinance? Okay, seeing none, can we get a official first reading?
Sure.
Move that we have a first reading.
We don't need to move. Please continue, Ms. Solicitor Richardson.
Thank you. As this is ordinance 3088, this is an ordinance of Upper Darby Township, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, appointing Michelle R. Portnoy as solicitor for the limited purpose of collecting unpaid municipal claims for delinquent accounts and approving collection procedures, interest assessment, credit card and debit card charges and fees and costs to be added to the amount collected, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, providing a severability clause and an effective date. Whereas, to be fair to all property owners and other residents of Upper Darby Township, it is necessary for the township to recover promptly unpaid delinquent abatement of nuisance accounts, the unpaid claims, if necessary by legal proceedings. Whereas the Municipal Claims and Tax Lien Act, as amended, authorized the addition of attorney fees, charges, costs, expenses, and commissions and fees to the total payable with respect to unpaid claims, but only if the municipality involved has approved by ordinance a schedule of such fees. And whereas the township has determined that it is in the best interest of all property owners and other residents to have vigorous enforcement of all unpaid claims and other unpaid charges utilizing the procedures set forth in the act, except in cases of serious hardship, which the township will address on a case-by-case basis pursuant to uniform policies. And whereas the township has reviewed the subject of interest in attorney's fees for collection matters and has determined that the fees set forth in this ordinance are reasonable in the amount for the services herein described. It is now therefore hereby ordained and enacted by the Township Council as follows: fees to be added to the unpaid claims, which include legal fees, collection fees, and a bookkeeping fee, and also return check fees. There's also costs to be added to the unpaid claims, which includes reasonable and necessary out-of-pocket charges, costs, expenses, commissions, and fees incurred in the collection of unclaimed claims, including but not limited to postage, title searches, VIN searches, prothonotary fees and charges, sheriff fees, charges, and they all shall be added to the unpaid claims. There are credit card and debit card charges, interest, and there's a section for collection procedures. A related action that the CAO or his designee is hereby authorized and empowered to take such additional action as they may deem necessary or appropriate to implement the ordinance. This appoints the solicitor. There's a repealer clause, a severability clause, and this ordinance shall become effective 30 days following the final adoption. So ends the first reading. Thank you.
Great. Can we get a motion to advertise ordinance 3088? It counts as our motion to introduce as well.
So moved. Make the motion.
Thank you, Ms. Blackwell.
Second.
And Ms. Phillips. Do we have any questions or concerns on advertising ordinance number 3088? Okay, seeing none. All those in, actually, can we get a roll call on the advertisement, please?
Sure. Counselor Tunis,
Yes.
Counselor Billups is a yes. Counselor Silva,
Yes.
Counselor Blackwell,
Yes.
Counselor Gwynn,
Yes.
Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Sadiq,
Yes.
Counselor Faralia is excused. Counselor Barnett,
Yes.
Counselor Wagner,
Yes.
and Counselor President Wentz.
Yes, thank you. Great, so it will be advertised in time for our next meeting in January. So great, thank you. Next up, we have the Public Safety Committee, co-chairs Councilman Burke and Councilwoman Blackwell, Council members Silva and Tunis Jr. At this point in time, can we get a reading of Resolution 5820 by Solicitor Kilkenny?
Thank you very much. A resolution of the Township of Upper Darby, Delaware County, authorizing applications to PennDOT for traffic signal improvements for Lansdowne Avenue and Marshall Road, Lansdowne Avenue and Garrett Road / Winding Way, Lansdowne Avenue and Huey Avenue / Keystone Avenue, Lansdowne Avenue and School Lane / School Driveway, Lansdowne Avenue and State Road, Lansdowne Avenue and Cedar Lane, Lansdowne Avenue and Bond Avenue, and Lansdowne Avenue and Township Line intersections. Be it resolved by the authority of Township Council, Upper Darby Township is hereby resolved by authority of the same that Vince Rangione, Chief Administrative Officer of Upper Darby Township, is authorized and directed to submit the attached applications described above for traffic signal approval to PennDOT.
Great, thank you. Can we get a motion to approve Resolution 58-20?
So moved.
Seconded.
Blackwell and Gwynn. Are there any questions and concerns? I realize that this did not make it to our committee meeting, or at least I don't think it did, but I believe this has to do with realigning the timing on all these intersection lights, similar to the one we did earlier this summer for Marshall Road. So Councilman Burke.
Thanks, President Wentz. The realigning of the signals, are we going to have to do that back again when the construction starts on Delaware County Community College and when SEPTA upgrades their stations? I thought they were going to do something along that area, just that area, Vince. Is that true or not?
Yeah, I imagine that there will be adjustments during those other construction processes. This piece, you know how they relined Lansdowne Avenue? They went to the one lane in front of the high school and put in the turn lane. This is the continuation of that traffic program. So they're replacing all the signals and mast arms to complete that project. And the good thing is that when they do that, we can take the existing equipment and repurpose it in our electrical department and use it when other signals go down. So it's a win-win for the township to get the opportunity to replace these. PennDOT owns the signals, we maintain them. So this particular one is the finishing of that relining project and repaving that they already did on Lansdowne Avenue. The shorter answer is yes, we may have to do adjustments during construction on those other properties as well.
Thanks, Vince. Thanks for clarifying that. Sure.
Great. Any other questions or concerns? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of passing resolution 58-20, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say your name.
Aye.
Aye.
Great, ayes have it. Unanimous. And Ms. Fraya is excused. Great. So next up, we have our report from our solicitors. Take it away, solicitors.
Okay. Thank you very much, President Wentz. Since this is the last meeting of the year, I'm just going to go through and discuss and summarize to council just some of the things that our office has worked on this year rather than the everyday matters. Our office has worked on an escrow resolution. We've worked on the sale of fire trucks. We've also worked on the Milbourne Fire Agreement, the 359 Owen Avenue landowner curative amendment. We worked on the Catania matter and settlement. We worked on the codification. We worked on resolutions of various supports, such as the Postal Service, the minimum municipal obligation, all budget managers, the emergency management appointment, the JAG grant. We worked on the marijuana ordinance. We began work on the honeybee ordinance and the business privilege check regulations. We worked on the voting mean ordinance. We conducted a right to know training. We have worked with Alexis on various advertisements and meetings of ordinances. We worked on the tax collection appointment. We worked on reclassifying various departments within the administration from public health and property maintenance. We've worked on food safety ordinances, worked on street opening. We worked on remote participation for council, a sewer lateral ordinance, parking fines, appointment of an internal tax collector, various appointments to the zoning hearing board, and certifying officers for HUD, as well as working on things like St. Eugene's and other matters that came before council tonight. So I thought it's been an interesting year, to say the least, for everybody, including our office, but it's been a pleasure to work on these matters for Upper Darby, and just kind of wanted to remind all the progress that we've made.
Great, thank you very much. Can you add or can you send that what you just read to Alexis so that we can have it, make sure we have it correctly in our minutes? Because you guys have done a lot of work. We'd like to make sure it's represented. Awesome, thank you. Thank you for all that you've done to help us this year. Yeah, greatly appreciate you guys. Awesome, so next up we have old business. Anyone have any old business? I'm hoping the events committee will give us a formal update outside of me. But Councilman Siddiq, go ahead.
I think our mayor had some picture on Heather Road. The sidewalk was messed up. She had the picture. I don't know if she did anything with the Public Works Department. Honorable Mayor, are you hearing me?
Getting there. I'm getting there. Yeah. So Sadiq, I shared the pictures that we took last week with the Code Enforcement Department. Somebody was out there today. I don't know what they found out, but I'll get back to you with that for sure.
And I would like to mention that I find out today is in front of 248 Heather Road, same block. 248 Heather Road, same digging, like a big hole in there on the sidewalk. Same way, looks like they did the swell liner plumbing job, but it still have a hole. They don't fix it back yet.
Okay. All right. I wrote that down. 248 Heather. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Okay. Any other old business?
Oh, I can,
Ms. Phillips?
yeah, I can talk about the events committee. We held our virtual job fair on the 12th. We think that it was successful. We had 10 companies that were there, including Delaware County. In Delaware County, we had the mayor there. We had Chief Sawyer. We had Career Link.
Primerica, the Delaware County, Delaware County Community College.
Yeah, yeah, and we had 27 people from Upper Darby that showed up. So it was a success, and we're going to hold another one probably sometime in the spring, and hopefully people got jobs out of it. So not hopefully, I believe that people did get jobs out of it. So it was very successful. It's something that we're looking forward to doing again, and we hope that everyone on council will participate next time. So because it's open to everyone, if you know of anyone that of an employer that wants to participate, we'll have another date for you guys, and we'll branch it out to everyone. So let us know.
Yeah,
so, Danielle,
Council President wants. If
yes, please. If you guys have anything to say.
Yes, please go ahead, Mr. Tunis. Councilman Tunis.
Yeah, I just want to say, just echo what Councilwoman Billups said. It was a really successful event. The thing is with these virtual events is we may have got 27 or 28 people in a virtual room, but that is being streamed. Everyone can view it. Now, residents of Upper Darby, they see their government playing a new role, right? This is something they haven't really seen before. So they have an administration as well as council president and events committee chair people coming together to play a role that usually their local government hasn't played in the past. So I do want to thank the leadership for the township for being a part of this. And it gave people opportunities. Some of these people never had the opportunity to get a job at Delaware County or Upper Darby Township. So this is good. And I think it was a really great, transparent event. And in the spring, I'm hoping it's going to have more involvement from council because it does affect everyone in your district. And when you're not participating in these events, they're noticing. It's not as if it's not partisan. Everyone's invited. Some people just may not attend. We all have schedules. But we got to make an effort to get this message out because this only helps Upper Darby Township.
Great, thank you. Yes, and I believe we're hopefully going to have some unions also involved in the next one for their apprenticeship programs and things like that. So there's definitely going to be a lot more employer options depending on what road you want to go into. So we're definitely making sure to connect with the unions on that. Councilwoman Blackwell?
I think Councilman Sadiq was before. I don't know. If you want me to go? I'll go.
Yes, please follow the order I call you on.
Right. So I just want to echo what my colleagues have stated. This is fun, but we also have to bear in mind that for the employers, our goal is to make sure that they want Upper Darby residents, that they're looking at Upper Darby residents, because that has an impact on the economic wealth of our residents. So that was another one of the goals, to make sure that employers know, look at us, Upper Darby, we need the jobs, we want the jobs.
Great, thank you. Okay, and then Councilman Silva, you did a lot to make that possible. So go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to echo what my colleagues were saying. So I was kind of having some Zoom issues in and out here. We had some on Saturday as well, but we were able to work through it. And I also want to thank Jess Brandis, who was the technical or technical advisor through all this, and did a ton of work voluntarily to help make all of that happen on Saturday. And also to just kind of piggyback on what my colleagues were saying, it's not just employers as well. There's a lot of resources that we kind of opened people's eyes to, made them aware of, and also and just allowing people to have those conversations. We're not sure, like, you know what I mean, if 10 people were hired or not, or what have you. But connecting people is I think part of the role of a good council person, and I hope that we did a lot of that on Saturday. So again, and thank you for putting the events committee together, because I think that was kind of a critical first step to making all of this possible.
You're welcome. And thank you. I just also want to point out that Philadelphia Unemployment Project was also one of those resources that was a part of the job fair as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have Councilman Gwynn. Go ahead. You're muted. You have to unmute yourself.
I just wanted to say thank you and appreciation to the mayor and the administration for their efforts in helping to provide food for individuals through the food share program to our residents in Upper Darby that may otherwise have gone hungry. It's been out there. I have periodically come up to get my packet and for the Wednesday night meeting, and see the lines of individuals standing there waiting, wrapping around the building, looking for food. And I know I also have some involvement with St. Lawrence in terms of St. Vincent de Paul. So all these things are good to help all the residents of Upper Darby. And there are other organizations out there that are also doing a dynamite job and trying to feed everybody.
Thank you. Mayor Kevin, do you have an update on the food share?
I can.
Or CAO, I'm sorry, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So part of how the township was able to provide those boxes this year was through a federal program from the Department of Agriculture. And that program has been ended. So we are working with the Share Food Program and others to figure out if and how we can continue food distribution in 2021 in Upper Darby Township. We do see the value in the program, and we would like to continue it. As of right now, the current program will continue through January, and that gives us enough time to either see if the federal government re-ups the program and makes those low-cost boxes available to us for distribution, or if we have to figure out some other avenue to acquire food to be distributed, and we'll have to determine if it's cost effective, because again, the 2020 program came through a federal Department of Agriculture program. So we're hoping that the federal government re-ups the program and we can keep it going. As of right now, we're good through January, and we're committed to figuring out how we go forward after that.
Great. And then also in the month of January, will it both be at 69th Street and the Township building, or is it being consolidated to just the Township building in January?
We are working on that, partially because of weather considerations. I believe it will be consolidated to the Township so that we can distribute out of the garage if necessary. But yeah, stay tuned for those details.
Okay. I know that at Saturday's distribution, residents were created a makeshift petition to try and keep it at the 69th Street recreational area. So I just wanted to let you know that's out there. Because so many people walk. So I just wanted to let you know. I'm sorry, I didn't share that information earlier with you.
No, I appreciate it, and understood. We'd like to do it as much as we can. So we're going to keep working on it. We understand.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks for working on that.
Sure.
Great. And then anyone else have any more old business? Councilman Siddiq, I did see your hand. You've already spoken, so I need to see if anyone else had something for old business before I hop to you. Okay, seeing none, go ahead, Councilman Siddiq.
Almost 80% answer, I get it. So I will request as a 660 councilman that if it possible, if there's no other issue with the snowing or the extreme cold, we'll continue on 69th Street because many people walking and coming pick up the boxes. It will be hard from those area people to come Township building to pick up their food. So it is, if possible, we'll continue to 69th Street. That's it.
Understood.
Thank you.
Great. So next up, we have new business. Anyone have Councilwoman Blackwell? Go ahead.
Okay, so I had a discussion with our events committee regarding the homelessness at 69th Street. And based on that, is Councilwoman Phillips, do I see you? You want to elaborate a little bit more on how we're proceeding with this?
So one of the things that you know, I had talked to the mayor earlier today, and because we all know that homelessness is an issue, right? And one of the things that I was thinking about is maybe having some type of street outreach. I'm not sure if that's possible, but I know I am going to be meeting with, I reached out to Rep. Davidson and State Senator Tim Kearney, and just going to have a conversation about what it is that we can do, you know, because it's getting cold, right? And we all know that substance abuse is an issue, mental health is an issue. You know, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but maybe have a plan in place to help these people.
Okay.
So
all right.
So
besides that was getting cold, this conversation was brought about was because my my other halves, he works down at the SEPTA police station. He's an officer there, and he stated that the homelessness has gotten out of hand. So I brought this to our committee as well. With our Councilwoman Phillips have just stated that it's getting cold.
Yes, I believe this has been an ongoing issue and conversation. I know that we've discussed it during the summertime while it was extremely hot, as well as, and also with COVID, and SEPTA ended up taking out all of their benches out of 69th Street Terminal. And moving all the homeless that would normally congregate in the SEPTA station, moving them out of it once COVID had hit. So
exactly.
It's been a continual concern, and I know that we have multiple homeless shelters in our vicinity, but I know CAO Rangioni and Mayor Keffer has been working on the issue. So CAO, did you want to give us any updates on it, or?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, very active conversations going on between the various community nonprofits, Horizon House, Mental Health Partners, Community Action, et cetera, and the County Department of Human Services. As a matter of fact, I have a call tomorrow morning at 9:30 with the county about this issue. We also, in addition to those meetings about homelessness, the mayor and the director of administrative services, Scott Alberts, have been attending the county code blue meetings, which have to do with how we address when the temperatures go below freezing. So, yeah, you know, unfortunately, there's no good answers, but they are actively being worked on, and the township is participating with the nonprofits and the counties in ways that the township maybe has not in the past. So, and we're working with SEPTA. I mean, SEPTA has expressed these concerns to us, and we certainly agree that our transit stations should not become de facto homeless shelters, COVID or no COVID. So as the answers develop, we will bring them to council, and we'd be happy to have input and involvement from you all as we have these meetings. But just know that you're not working in a vacuum. We are on it with you.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. I think one of the things, just putting it out there, I think one of the things that is a disconnect, in my opinion, is there's no street outreach. There's no one that's to meet the homelessness people at where they are, right? So I think it needs to be somewhere, some people to go out there to say, hey, do you want to go into a shelter? Do you need a place to stay? And it needs to be a place for people to go.
Yeah,
So
no,
I think what's missing is a street outreach team. That's what I think. That's what's missing.
No, I think you're absolutely right, Councilwoman Billups. And honestly, currently, to the extent that street level outreach is going on, it's actually kind of largely being spearheaded by some of the EMTs and emergency room folks at Crozier, who are really just taking it upon themselves to try to call attention to it and try to bring the county and the township to the table. So they are certainly also in agreement with you. And I honestly think there is some street level outreach. It's just not anywhere near the volume that we need. And that's a major topic for us with the county. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we agree, that's the only way. You have to meet people where they are. One of the things that we considered during COVID was setting up a wash station just as a way to draw people into a conversation, stop by, get cleaned up, learn about resources. So those are the kind of ideas that we're considering to try to get more street level engagement and get people into the service pipeline.
Great. And in 2018, then Mayor Keffer was councilwoman. She and I met with the homeless shelter across the street from the Township building.
Sure.
They had been talking about wanting to take over their upper floors of that building that they're in to revamp it into sleeping quarters for homeless, but that there was some ordinances in the way that prevented them from doing that. Could we look into that would probably be an easy way to make sure there aren't ordinances, or that we adjust whatever the ordinances were that were blocking them from doing that, so that we could make that possible if that was still something they wanted to do.
Yeah, so overnight capacity in the township is definitely an issue. One of the things that COVID did was it shut down a program run by the churches that provided some overnight overflow capacity from the Life Center, and completely understandable that those church communities, were nervous about the virus under the circumstances. And so overnight capacity is a primary concern for us because the Life Center is overcrowded. Whether 7200 Chestnut is the best location, or whether that building is up to code or has the proper permits, those are all just processes that the landlord and the nonprofit have to go through. But overnight capacity is very much on everybody's mind, and a problem that we're trying to solve.
Okay, so.
Oh, I'm sorry, just one quick thing before you go. The county has also invested resources into hotel rooms for rapid rehousing. So there are a number of avenues being pursued in the short term to try to make sure that nobody is on the street, during the extreme cold.
Great. So yeah, and I'll check with Alexis about any ordinances that we could possibly revisit to help. Councilman Gwynn.
Thank you for the update.
Thank you. Sorry.
On a similar note, we have situations where people are getting evicted from their rental properties and things like that. I would call them like the recently dispossessed, or not. They now are homeless because of the fact that they can't pay the rents, and the evictions are going to be something that is coming up that you're going to also face.
And then Councilman Tunis.
Yeah, and something that Councilman Silva and I was working on to get to all the attendees that may have attended our job fairs, the Community Action Agency of Delaware County.
Yeah.
They have a lot of resources. If you're facing displacement, you need rental assistance, utility assistance.
They don't have the money.
So those are just some resources that's out there. If I can forward that information to council members too, if they would like to, just to have on hand to be able to pass on to any constituents that they come across.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me, Council President, could I just add one more thing?
Yes, of course.
To touch on what Councilman Gwynn and Councilman Tunis were saying there, some of that rent and mortgage assistance, excuse me, some of that rent and mortgage assistance that's being provided by the Community Action Agency of Delaware County is actually funded by Upper Darby Township. The mayor felt that rent and mortgage assistance was very important during COVID. And so we did allocate some of our COVID relief money to go to the Community Action Agency so that they could do even more rent and mortgage assistance in Upper Darby. So that is on the mayor's mind and something that we're participating in and working on.
Great. Thank you very much for taking part in that. Cool. And then Councilman Siddiq, did you have something else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just find out today that 6707 Montgomery Avenue is in my district. Two residents reached me today. They said that somebody circulating the petition to have a mentally challenged people to live in that house, and residents do not want that one to be there. I believe tomorrow is a zoning hearing meeting.
Hey. Sorry.
That's okay. I bet that was an animal attack.
So anybody have an idea? 6707 Montgomery Avenue having permit for living over there, mentally challenged people, which is full of resident.
I'll look into it, but I haven't heard anything about it.
I really don't have time because somebody called me, two people called me today, like this afternoon, and I say it's too late to investigate it. I'm going to talk in my council meeting tonight to find out what's going on.
I thought that we can't, it's like group home, right? So I don't think we can.
We approve them?
Let me just, so
yes, please, Mayor.
So 6707 Montgomery, we'll look into L&I department to see if they're licensed for something like that. And we should talk about this offline, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
So,
okay.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
Okay, anything else for new business? Okay, seeing none. I just want to thank everyone for all the amazing work that you've done this year and for all the teamwork action that we've done for passing things and moving things forward. You guys are amazing. I greatly appreciate all of you. And can we get one more motion to adjourn?
Not yet.
Oh no, Councilman Gwynn.
I just wanted to.
Go ahead.
Just wanted to mention that there is a zoning hearing board session for the Drexel Line project that's coming up December 22nd. It's very important for this township, and people, if they have opinions on it, should make their opinions known. I'm in favor of this project. I'd like to see it go ahead, as I'm sure the mayor is and the administration.
Great, thank you. So zoning hearing board on the 22nd, special meeting. Great, thank you. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Well, and Burke, Phillips. And just want to note that it's 8:34. See, Phillips. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say your name. Everyone, happy holidays. Have a great
Happy holiday, everyone.
Christmas.
Happy holiday.